Welcome to Business Casual, where entrepreneurs find inspiration to start and grow their online business. On today's Business Casual, I'm chatting with business manager and career coach, Janice. Janice is the founder of The Career Introvert, a consultancy service that helps introverts achieve their ultimate potential. Janice, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
All right, Janice, tell me your entrepreneur origin story. Did you always know that you wanted to start your own business?
I was working for a company for a long time in Mexico, and the SARS thing happened and we got to work from home. And my productivity went through the roof because I got to work from home. And so I kept asking for more work, and they were like, no, we don't have more work for you. Just do what you're doing. And which was fine, and it was nice. I got to do things at home, but I got bored. And so I started to look for different ways to do things without sort of being in breach of contract or that sort of a thing. And it ended up helping companies set up their LinkedIn profiles and also sort of their individual profiles as well, because being a recruiter and having that background and knowing what people are looking for, it was really helpful without being in direct conflict with my current job.
Okay, so when did you discover that you were an introvert? And more importantly, when did you realize that your introversion was actually something you could build your business around?
So unfortunately, I learned that I was an introvert far too late in the game. Maybe I would say no more than 5 or 6 years ago. I was reading the book Quiet that everybody reads. And I sort of, you do the math and you sit and you think, you're like, oh, okay. Oh, that explains a lot. Oh, it wasn't a culture fit. It was because I'm an introvert sort of a thing with various different positions and jobs and so on and so forth, and how I deal with my energy. And as far as building a business around it, I said I did speaking gigs. I ended up speaking at a conference called 7 and 7, which is run by now a friend of mine, which I'm super excited about. And I was talking about introversion, and because I look at it from more of a HR background. It was teams working together, virtual teams, and a lot of virtual teams have introverts in them. But you find that extroverts want to sort of bring the water cooler to the remote working space. And I was trying to explain that there's a reason why introverts sort of work from home. They didn't like the water cooler thing. That's not what they did. If they didn't do it in the office, they're not going to do it virtually. Stop expecting those expectations and trying to move it. And people were like, so why don't you coach on this? And I was like, oh, well, I coach on other things. I coach on career stuff and HR stuff. But they said that it was a good idea to sort of niche down and do it specifically for introverts, because there apparently is a lack of that in the world.
Now, you're a career and business manager. Where did the idea come from, and what need did you see with those services?
It was more of a case of, even in my previous life, if that's even a thing, I did a lot of mentoring for women who were in charities, people who had just become a manager and they were managing people who were older than them, people who had just become a manager and just got dropped to the deep end and had no training. And then there were people who, they want to start their own business but don't know what to do. And I found a lot of introverts wanted to get away from the 9 to 5, but didn't want to run their own business because they felt that it would involve being an extrovert and selling, because you had to sell to investors or VCs or whatever it is. The feeling of having to sell felt like it was just an extrovert thing. And so a lot of introverts would sort of get started and then be like, I don't want to tell people I have a business because X, Y, and Z. And so I realized that there was a need there and sort of have grown my business around those things. And I've learned in the process, because I was definitely in that stage of, I had a podcast and I didn't tell anyone about it for at least 3 months. And as soon as I started to tell people, they were interested. And I was like, but it's just me ranting for 5 minutes about stuff. Like, why do you care? So it's a case of, I was learning and I helped other people to learn at the same time. And because I was so close to what they were doing, it was really helpful, rather than having someone who's like, I launched a 6-figure thing, you should do it too. Not what I was looking for.
And what are the top 2 to 3 things that you see introverts struggle with when starting a business? Like, what advice would you give them to overcome those struggles?
I would say one thing is feeling, especially now with so much things being around social media and there's all the pretty pictures and the graphics, feeling that your whole life is out there on display. And I've come to realize, and so therefore help other people realize, that is not the case. You do have control about what people know about you. I know a lot of people are very much at the moment and they're like, I'm here at this place and I'm here at that place. But a lot of people have security concerns. So you don't have to post straight away where you are. You can even post later. A lot of my Instagram posts are from whenever I was doing a thing 3 months ago. No one knows where I am right now. So having your life out there, you do have control. Although you might see me a lot in different channels, I asked someone the other day, so what's my favorite color? And they were like, I don't know that. And you think that people would know that because they know everything about you, and that's not the case. That's one problem that I feel introverts tend to have. And the other problem is letting people know what you're doing, because we're not very good at shouting from the rooftops. Like, hey, I did this thing and I did this other thing. And what I found helpful is having an accountability buddy. I have accountability buddies for different things. And I have one person who I message every day. And I did a speech the other day and I sent her the photo. I'm like, oh, it went really well. She says, does anyone else know that it went well? And I was like, no. Okay, I'll go and do a thing. And so I did the thing and I was supported. I got a lot of feedback. It just took that little extra push for me to go and do it. So having an accountability buddy or someone that you can talk ideas off is really, really helpful.
Now, do you find that people who are introverted are better suited for certain types of businesses versus extroverts? Or is it more about kind of a mindset difference in management style?
I think that most people are never extreme introverts or extreme extroverts. Most people are somewhere in between, and it depends on the time of day, how they're feeling, what's going on in their life. And we get sort of stuck in these boxes, and therefore we get stuck in a mindset. And the biggest mindset thing, as far as starting your own business is concerned, is going from being an employee to being a CEO. Because the difference is, at school, you get told what to do. At university, you get told what to do. If you work for corporate, you get told what to do. But as a freelancer or an entrepreneur or CEO or whatever, founder, whatever word you want to use in there, you are calling the shots. You have to call your clients. You have to update your clients. You have to be the one driving everything. And it's very hard to change that mindset, but it makes a huge difference.
And for our viewers who want to start an online business, but they're feeling overwhelmed by the whole process, can you give us some tactics or tools that they can use to kind of streamline their ideas and get organized so they can actually get to the point of launching?
If you have $1 million idea, please tell me, because I would like that idea too. But apart from that, the first thing is to realize that you are allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to change what you do. So many people start and they're like, I'm going to be a VA. And then they don't want to do anything that isn't around that, even though they might find that they are better suited to specializing in social media or specializing in podcast editing. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change things. It's your business. It's what you want to do. That's okay. When you're looking for a place to start, think about your personality, write out your perfect day, and think about the skills you already have. A lot of people are very much like, I need to take this course, or I need to have a profile, or I need to have a portfolio. Think about what you have already done. And it could be in corporate. For example, I was a LinkedIn whiz, but I used it for another thing to do. So think about what you can already do and then build on that. Don't try and learn a new thing and then try and get people to pay you to do this new thing that you are learning. Some people will pay you, but that's not what you're looking for. Find the sweet spot that you already are good at and then do that. The second thing I highly recommend is processes. From the start, start writing down or videoing what you do and how you do it. Because then when you're ready to scale or hire somebody, you're not spending extra time thinking about how to train them or what to do. You already have that information there. And so it makes it that much easier to explain to people. Because what you'll find is when you have your own business, everything is in your head. And you assume that people can read your mind. This is not the case. And so you need to have these things down. And it changes over time. Make sure you go back every 3 months or every 6 months and figure out what you're doing. The other place where people get overwhelmed is there's so much information out there on the internet. Is it Trello or Asana? Should I use MailChimp or ConvertKit? There's so much out there. And you need to remember everyone's different. Everyone has their own thing. Everyone has their own bubble. You need to do you. You can ask for advice. It's great. But at the end of the day, only you will know what works for your business. And again, that will change. Some people go from MailChimp to ConvertKit to something else, That's okay. It happens. Very rarely do you find a software that you get and you use first time and you love it and it's all good and it will work for your business for 5 to 10 years. It doesn't, because your business and what you do changes. It's okay. And I'm going to say a fourth thing because I'm on a roll. Find someone who's at the same path as you, and so you can be an accountability buddy. I'm going to say this again. Have someone that can go on the path with you or is a few steps in front of you. What I found is when most people come to me, it's because they said, there's too much stuff out there. I know I need help. And so then they just have someone that will, I'm not going to tell you what to do. It's up to you. You're an adult. But I can say, well, try this or do that, or this has worked for this person in this business case. So try and find someone who is at the same stage as you so they can be an accountability buddy and you're going through the same thing together. Because the other problem is most of your contemporaries are going to be in the 9-to-5 job and they don't understand a sales funnel or Facebook marketing or whatever it might be.
And how have you monetized your own business? I know that you have some course offerings and some coaching. Can you tell us about that?
So I have a podcast. And so that's one way for people to listen to me, listen to my voice, sort of get an idea of my personality, because I'm not for everybody. If you want someone who's fluffy and nice and sweet, that's not what you're going to get. And so that's worked out rather well, because then I've been able to interview people, even though my podcast isn't an interview podcast. I've been able to interview other people in other areas, put together, for International Women's Day, we put together a whole thing of videos from women around the world, made that into a book. So that is a monetization thing. As far as the coaching is concerned, that's more one-on-one. You get me 2 times a month and we talk about whatever it is that you need to work through. And the reason why I ended up doing school as well is because for the coaching, you're one-on-one, you're paying for my time. And sometimes people are not in that financial position to be able to afford that. But the courses also give you an idea of, again, you're working with me, but sort of in your own time. And so the idea behind that is people can pick and choose what courses they want. There's stuff on well-being, there's stuff on job interviews, there's things on networking for introverts. And at the same time, there's the option to sort of buy a subscription package. So you get access to all the old courses and all the new courses and any webinars that I do, and you just pay a monthly subscription. And so that actually works out cheaper than buying the individual courses. But the idea is to make it more accessible to people, because everyone is in a different space, and just thinking that everyone can afford to sort of do the coaching and one-on-one with me isn't realistic. And also sometimes people just need to, the idea is people are supposed to have 7 different touch points before they buy something from you. And so the podcast is what some of that, the book is some of that, the webinars, I do a lot of free webinars. Those are just different touch points, Facebook Lives, LinkedIn, the whole thing. But mainly the courses are just stuff that I'm learning at the same time. You get sort of like a back end look at what I'm doing and how I'm doing it before you might say, okay, I know what I need to do. I want to do this thing. Please help me. And I will then pay for your coaching. So those are how they all kind of work together.
Now you have a 5-day public speaking challenge, and you also offer a free 30-minute consultation. How do those freebies work in terms of driving signups and even sales?
So with the 5-day public speaking thing, it's because I accidentally fell into public speaking. And so it's one of the things that a lot of introverts find intimidating. And it's not just public speaking as in big speaking, but just at meetings at work, or just you have to go and do a presentation or whatever it might be. And so it gives people an idea of, oh, if I just change this thing, and they're very small steps, that their whole mindset changes, and then not their life changes, but their thought about that changes. And so that's really important. And if people are willing to take those first steps to change, because you get people who get freebies and then don't do anything with them, I look for people who do want to do things and do want to take action and are prepared to do the work. In this day and age, there's so much out there that, oh, I want so much stuff for free and I don't want to do the work. I want the quick fix. And I'm not about that. And I also think it's very unrealistic, which is also why sort of my coaching is 3 or 6 month minimum. I very rarely do one-off coaching sessions because change takes time. And as for the discovery call, most people, when they get to the discovery call, they are fed up at work or they want to do a thing. And so we find out what the top 3 pain points are. I discuss how I can help them with those pain points or not, because not everyone's a good fit. One of my core questions is sort of, why do you think you're an introvert? Because there's a lot of misconception and misinformation out there about introversion. So it's very good from the get-go to sort of set a baseline of what is and isn't introversion. And then my idea behind the discovery call is to find out what sort of time frame they have, what their expectations are they being realistic? Because I don't want to take on someone who's like, in 3 months, I'm going to have a business that has a $1 million turnover. It's not good for me and it's not good for them. So that's how they've helped. And they, like I said, they get to speak to me personally. They get to hear my story, what I've done, and how I might be able to help them.
Now you have a new book that just came out and have other published works online and in print. How does publishing or even contributing articles to other sites help your business's bottom line?
So the first book I wrote 3 years ago, and that was because I'd been going around doing my workshop, which was networking for introverts in different countries, but only so many people are going to come and see me. Not because I'm not wonderful, but because of just, there's only so many people that can go to events at certain days and times. So it made sense to take that and make it into a book so more people, it would be available to more people. It's also an online course because people like to consume their information in different ways. And so if you think that they will just listen to your podcast, that's not the case. People will read, people will watch videos. Everyone has a different way of consuming their content. So whatever content you have, you should have it in such a way that it is easily digestible in video, written form, and audio form. And so that was the one book. The other book that just came out, it's actually out now, is the Introvert Insight book. And that was the thing that I did where I interviewed different women around the world for International Women's Day who are all introverts and are successful business women. And that was a video series. And then we made it into a book. And because it's sort of like a podcasty book, when I went to Podcast Movement, which is a very big conference in North America, I got to do the book launch at that event. And I'm going to do a new version of that every single year for International Women's Day because there are so many people that I can get to talk to and interview. And how it helps my bottom line, books are just another income stream. What people sort of forget is that Amazon and Google are best buddies. And if you Google my name, it's probably the fourth thing that's up there, like LinkedIn is first. My business is there. And then there's Amazon. And if you're trying to build a brand and trying to build a business, or even if you are, like I have a friend, she's into HR, but her main thing is ADA, and she wants to be known for that. Having a book specifically about that makes her seem as a subject matter expert. She knows what she's talking about. She's building her career brand. It's still her own brand. She doesn't have her own business, but she still has a personal business brand, and that's what it's about. And so building your brand is really important. And so having a book, you'll notice that most podcasters, most famous podcasters have a book. Anyone who's on the speaking circuit has a book, or at least has one coming out every other year or so. It's really important if you want to be on the speaking circuit or just want to be seen as a subject matter expert to have a book. And a lot of people get caught up in it has to be my memoir, it has to be this thing, and they forget that you should just take the top 3 questions that your people, your clients ask, and answer it in a really in-depth manner. And so that's how it's helped with me. So, for example, Podcaster to Author came out of me helping other introverts with their podcast and building their brand. And we discovered that taking that content you already have, don't get caught up in making new content you already have and turning it into a book is just another revenue stream. Don't think that, I have to earn all the money back. It's a long-term revenue stream because that book will be there forever. And it's just, it's a little bit comes in every month. But these are the things that I found out by accident. So the first time I did my first book, I did it all myself. Never again. And so this time with Introvert Insight, I have a whole team, and then that team I use to help other introverts or other people who come to me to do Podcaster to Author.
Janice, this has been great. I think that our viewers are going to love all these tips. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. Yeah, if anyone wants any information, you can find me at thecareerintrovert.com. And from there, you'll find everything from the podcast to the books and everything else. And I'm on Twitter and Facebook at the same thing, The Career Introvert. Thank you.
And thank you for watching Business Casual, the show where entrepreneurs find inspiration to start and grow their online business. And if you're not subscribed to the GrowthLab channel, make sure you click that subscribe button below so that you don't miss our next weekly interview. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.